Broadcasting by way of Gallifrey. Stand by for podcast. This is Voices from the Vortex.
Voices from the Vortex reviews Doctor Who, Episode 12, Death in Heaven.
With the Master reborn and the Cybermen on the rise, only the Doctor can save the Earth as the dead are coming back to life.
Hello out there! We're very sad over here.
It's so sad.
A lot of tears.
A lot of tears.
I will never be able to look at something with the color pink ever again.
Oh no! Hey guys.
Hi guys.
Hi guys. This is Taylor.
This is Matt.
And there has been a death in heaven, guys.
This is... We are the very hushed voices on the Vortex tonight.
No, but seriously, hey!
Hey, what's going on?
Hey! Yeah, no, this was a great episode, and a great ending to the series.
It was.
Very fitting, and I enjoyed it a lot.
I did too, very thoroughly. And even after the second watching, I was pleasantly surprised that it held up for me. I know we've had a rough go of it. We've been saying that all season.
Yeah.
But this season really has ended strong.
Yes, very much so.
We're going to cover all that.
This season's been very strong on character relationships and the drama and the character development, and it's sort of changed from what we were used to. So the show is very different now, but I really do love it.
I do too, and I see where Moffat was coming from, saying, hang in there till the end, everything will make sense, you'll understand who he is, and he'll have that Doctor moment where he feels like the Doctor, and he definitely did. You're right, this season's been really big on personal development, it's been really big on characters, how they connect. Consequences was supposed to be the theme that we were looking at throughout the course of the season, and it really has. This has shown us some pretty epic level of consequences to the actions of Clara and the Doctor.
Indeed. So, what's your first impression of this episode? What do you just?
Well, going into it, I was really worried. Last Dark Water, man, good ending, good cliffhanger. Where do you go from there? It actually, for me, it felt an awful lot like going back and watching the first part of the season finales for season 4 and season 3 and season 2, where really you go, now what? Nothing felt safe. Nothing. You had no idea what was going to happen next. Russell T Davies kept upping the ante, and when Moffat took over, you kind of stopped getting those season finale 2-parters after season 5. So I mean, I was really worried that maybe this episode would happen, and I'd be like, it all feels by the numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, done, and it didn't. It didn't at all.
No, you're right there. This episode went in completely different directions than I thought it might. But I really enjoyed it. I will say that if I'm to sort of say which was better, I think the first part was better, and that just may be because it's more intense and things are coming. And then I always get to the point where when questions are answered, it's not that it's disappointing. It's just that it's weird because I don't have to think about it anymore.
Right. And
it's just that's what they came up with. Okay. So yeah, no, I would say this one was just a little less good as the part 1, but I thought it was great.
I did too. And one of the things that really made this thing great, finally, a return of UNIT in its proper format. Since Moffat took over, we have not seen UNIT except for that one tiny little episode, the 50th.
That little thing.
That little thing. But other than that, we haven't really seen UNIT, and it's good to see them return. It's good to see them they're more like S.H.I.E.L.D. from Marvel Comics. They are on top of it now. They are monitoring the Earth and working towards protecting the Earth from, crazy people like the Missy.
I'm really enjoying Unit now. I used to be kind of annoyed with them back in the day of Tennant and Eccleston and stuff. They kind of mentioned it in Eccleston, but Tennant mostly. They kept doing things that the Doctor was like, "No, why are you doing this?" And they would just kind of be annoying. Now, since it was the Power of Three, was where we get Kate Lethbridge-Stewart, for the first time,
right?
And she comes in. She's like, "No, it's different now. It's more scientific approach and this and that." And they're really on top of things. I really enjoy Unit. So whenever Unit shows up, I do love it.
And the new Commander-in-Chief, ladies and gentlemen,
That's
the
right.
President of Earth.
Yes, the Doctor has been elected President of Earth.
But only while he's aboard that plane. He said that.
Yes.
Only while you're on this plane are your orders law.
I think that's really interesting that they did that because, if you think back to like Harriet Jones, saying, you're not always here and this and that, and now it's like, where's the Doctor? We need him to tell us what to do.
Well, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe the Doctor really does know what he's doing. It goes along with everything he's been talking about this season. He has to make all those difficult choices. And the choices aren't always good. There's not always a good choice. You have to make a choice. Mm-hmm. And since he is the authority on that, putting him in that position of authority is a great thing.
Well, and after the 50th, where he solves the problem with the Zygons, maybe they're like, oh, maybe we should start listening to him a little bit more, yeah.
He seems to know what he's doing there, all three of them.
Sure, yeah.
The Doctor, wonderful chap, all of them.
13.
Well, there's 2 eyebrows on that face. That should be 13 and 14, honestly.
Yes.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
So, with the return of Unit, we also get the return, we obviously of Kate Lethbridge-Stewart, who she was great in this episode. But also the return of Osgood.
Oh, Osgood.
Which I do enjoy Osgood, and I was very, very sad when she was vaporized. I was very sad.
That scene, I love Osgood, and I was so happy that she was here and she was showing her love for the Doctor and how clever she is. But that scene with her and Missy, where Missy's got the secret, and you could see it from the moment that the Doctor considered Osgood to be a companion. Mm-hmm. When he considered one day, put it on your bucket list, and my God, just Missy's face. Oh, she knew.
Yeah.
She was going to murder her as we get to the Doctor. And, God, that scene is so tense. And the countdown. So mean, so cruel. And then that
the
final...
whisper was, for me, it was the whisper that chilled my bones when she was like, I'm going to kill you in a minute. I was like, oh, you better not.
Well, and then her voice, she goes, don't tell the boys, this is our little girl's secret. And I'm just like, oh, God, she's crazy.
She's nuts. Oh,
but
man.
I loved her final word to Osgood. Osgood makes a great point. I'm worth more to you alive. And she says a very good point, but remember... Bananas. And she is. She's
I was very sad to see Osgood go because some people might see her as just kind of a little one-off character, but in the 50th, she was meant to represent us. She was meant to represent the fans. She was a fan of the Doctor herself, of the man. She was wearing the scarf, and then this one she's got the bow tie on and the chucks. I mean,
right.
So for Moffat to kill her, I was just like, oh no, I just sat there and I was like, I need a moment to process what just happened.
Right.
And so, she's a little important to us a little bit, and so it's kind of sad. A little sad to see her go.
A little sad to see her go.
Yeah.
Something else, we've been talking about this all season. And it has really culminated in this episode. We have seen a great transformation from Clara. She has gone from being Clara, the impossible girl, to becoming the Doctor. And this episode, really to drive that point home, that's her line. That's what she says. That's how she tells. That's what she tells the Cybermen, to save her. I am the Doctor, and everything she does is doctoring. Mm-hmm. She puts absolutely no importance on friends or family. She is just trying to survive and be the Doctor, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. Obviously, her relationship with Danny suffered sincerely because of this. But at the very end, when we see Danny, there, and Danny's in the cyber suit and everything, she had to be the Doctor to kill him. She had to be the Doctor to turn on the inhibitor. And that's what happened. That's what she had become.
Yeah, I agree. If Clara hadn't sort of gone through that transformation, I don't think she could have done it at the end. I don't think she could have turned on his inhibitor chip and let him go. But you're right, because of that sort of character growth and the way she thinks now about, for the greater good and things like that, then yeah, it was a little bit easier for her. It wasn't that easy though.
No, it wasn't easy.
No.
But it is interesting to see her having become the Doctor. As we have learned who the Doctor is, this whole season was about who he was, and it's interesting to see that as we've come to understand the Doctor, she has become the Doctor too.
Mm-hmm. I really loved the opening credits in this. She says, "I'm the Doctor," and then not only are Jenna Coleman's her name was first, then we get her eyes in the stars.
Her eyes.
Capaldi's eyes. That was just great.
Sans eyebrows.
Yes, no eyebrows. Big eyes, though.
Well, yeah. They cover your whole face. How do you do that?
It's like they inflate.
One of the themes of the season has been, the Doctor's quote from the trailer, the "Am I a good man?" Which we come back to at the end of this, and a lot of that has to do, I think, with Clara and her changing. The Doctor has been trying very hard to prove that he's not a good man, that he's not a hero, and him asking Clara that, that wasn't him looking for validation. I think that was him trying to challenge the preconception that Clara had, that he was just a good man. And being the Doctor doesn't mean being good. He says that to her when she asks in Flatline, I was a good doctor, wasn't I? He says, well, you were an excellent doctor, but it has nothing to do with good. And that's a part of that. We get to the very end, and he says it to Missy. He says, I'm not a good man. I'm an idiot in a box with a screwdriver, just passing through. And but he's clever. And maybe that's a part of it too. That Clara was a good doctor. She was an idiot, and she made a lot of mistakes. And the mistakes she made reflected a lot of what the Doctor's mistakes have been.
I love that. I love that speech of his right there.
Oh, it was good.
That was so good. And you're right. This season has been a lot about his sort of. I guess after Trenzalore, he's thinking he's thinking about what he's done with his life, and he's going through this dilemma. He's like, well, people see me as a hero, but am I a hero? Am I a bad person? Do I make these mistakes because I'm a bad person? Or, he's like, what? And then he just accepts it. He goes, you know what? No. I'm just an idiot. I'm just here. I just help when I can. And and I loved it. He says, I don't need an army because I have them. It's always been them, his companions who help him out. And sort of lead him to help him make the right choices. Because ultimately, he's an intelligent person, but he's not that smart all the time, and he needs guidance, and he misses
a lot
because
of things. Yeah.
He's an idiot.
He is an idiot. He is.
Yeah.
And it's funny that he calls himself that, because throughout the entire season, he's called others that. And he keeps insisting that people are idiots.
Yeah.
And like when they're talking
brains.
about... pudding brains. And when he's talking about... what was it? He's talking about the guy who decided to listen for the white noise.
Yeah.
And, and he says, was he an idiot? He's an idiot? But what does the doctor do? The doctor, look and listen. Listen was the perfect... What was the doctor doing? He was sitting there going, oh, maybe I'm not alone. What is he, an idiot? It's the same thing as the guy that listened to the white noise.
Yeah.
So he's judging himself.
Right.
I love that.
Okay, so here's one thing I wanted to talk to you about. And like, I kind of get it, but I feel like maybe you can help me understand it a little bit better. What exactly was the Mistress's plan? Like, I didn't quite understand. I knew what she was doing with the Cybermen and the clouds, and it rained down, and the cyber spores turned the dead into Cybermen, and she was raising an army to give to the Doctor as a birthday present, which I thought was funny. But first of all, like, what was her plan to... Like, why was she doing this? She says... Well... She has this quote that's like, I need my best friend back. I want you to know that we're not so different. Like, what? I don't know if I quite understand her motivation here.
So I'm looking at it from what are the most recent events for her and for what happened to the Master. The last time we see the Master, and this is something I loved about John Sims' Master. He was dead set crazy, right? But there were all these moments between him and the Doctor where he was telling the Doctor, he's like, I don't trust it, and I don't trust myself. And he got so honest with the Doctor about a couple of things. And what's interesting is the Master has always sort of been sort of this intellectual equal to the Doctor. And he gets crazy, and he does crazy things because he's crazy. But I think that last moment... I've been saying this for years now, and people keep telling me no. They keep shouting me down. I think they're wrong. He jumped up and fought Rassilon because he was selfish. Yes, shooting the lightning at Rassilon as he knows he's about to head right back into the Time War. And, it was selfish, but he tells the Doctor to get out of his way. He saves the Doctor from death. And I don't think that was all selfish. I think the Master did that to save the Doctor. I know people disagree with me on this, but I think there was a part... some of it was selfish, yes, but I think there was a part of him that wanted to do something kind for the only person in the universe who has ever shown compassion to the Master.
Or who even understands him,
right.
Knows what it's like to be who he is,
Right.
Yeah.
So the Master finds a way out. And what does he do? He sets up this ridiculous plot. Over the top,
as he often
complicated.
Does.
He has a TARDIS. He goes back in time. He creates the idea of heaven and steals the souls of every human being on Earth as they die through the history of mankind to have this giant resource of souls.
Mm-hmm.
And why does he do it? To give it to the Doctor. To say, you love them so much, here's the dead, now you have an army to save the universe. I don't think it's altruistic. I don't think he's doing it because he's like, now I'm going to be good. I think Missy did that because, to a point, she wanted to say thank you. And that's how crazy people say thank you. By doing something crazy.
Yeah.
She's bananas.
Super B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
Well, and the other part I didn't quite understand is we find out in this episode that Missy was the woman in the shop who gave Clara the phone number for the TARDIS, and also put the ad in the paper in Deep Breath that sort of kept them together. So what was... I really did not understand her plan with Clara, just to put her with the Doctor because she thought that'd be funny? That's kind of what it seemed to me.
It seemed like... And again, this is all part of that. She's bananas. She wanted to say thank you. This is what I'm getting from this. She wants to say thank you to the only person that she feels can understand her, and they're old friends, and she says, no, but wait, if I say thank you in a great way, he'll want me around, and we'll be best of friends, and we'll tra-la-la-la-la all through the universe. And, that's really what it's this bananas response. It's this crazy-ass response. So why did she put Clara with the Doctor? Because the Doctor needs a control freak. The Doctor needs someone who's going to sort of rein him in, who's going to teach him more about himself. He is crazy too, but his crazy isn't crazy like her crazy. His crazy's like crazy that crazy people do when they're fairly sane. She's crazy like the Joker is crazy. She's crazy like, I'm going to kill 1 million people to tell you you're my favorite. And like, that's crazy, but that's missing. So what was her plan? To put Clara there? Well, she says it on the plane, doesn't she? She said, I went through time. I saw all these little people that you loved and you kept taking with you. So she saw how the Doctor... She saw all these people that the Doctor had gone and seen too. All these people who had traveled with them. And she got, I don't know if it was jealous or if she formed this opinion like, wait a minute, all these people with the Doctor, not one of them gets him. Not one of them understands him like I do. So she picks somebody who can understand him, who will be there for him when he needs her to be there, the impossible girl, and saves him. And then becomes the Doctor, just like him, because she keeps throwing them together. And I love that. I love that Missy is just absolutely batshit crazy and says thank you by completely manipulating the Doctor's life and bringing the dead to life.
I love it. I think a lot of it, too, is like she's just throwing a wrench in the works. She's just trying to like cause some trouble.
She can't help herself.
No, I think that's
why did she kill Kate Stewart when she liked Kate Stewart? Yeah, because she could.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Oh, that too. I was worried. Death. I was worried there too. I was like, we're losing Osgood and Kate Stewart.
Oh God, I was that pissed me off so much.
I know, but we'll
so happy.
We'll get to what happened to Kate in a second. So,
there was something really interesting. I just wanted to say, we get a really cool thing here where basically she explains that her and the Doctor weren't just best friends when they were kids, that they were friends when they were kids. I can't remember exactly the line, but they said something like what basically is the impression was they did all this stuff together and would have run away together for the most part. You know, that was kind of their relationship, the BFFs of Time Lorddom, and all that fell apart when I guess the Doctor went to the Academy. And that kind of brings us back to the episode Listen, and all the way back to Clara's under the bed grabbing the Doctor's foot and all that and telling him to go back to sleep and all this, and it's just a dream because he was a lonely child. And the Doctor said before in the show he was a lonely child. He was always a lonely child. But now we see there was this whole part of his life where he had a friend, and it just happens to be banana shit crazy Missy. And I love that. I love that there's this piece of his life that maybe wasn't lonely. It was really sweet and probably a great time for him. And that fills me with hope that the Doctor doesn't have to be this way. He chooses to be this way.
Well, and he tells Danny, you know, I had a friend. We used to run together. And he goes through this whole speech. And I thought we'd grow up to be the same, but we didn't. We turned out to be completely different. So there's that sort of sadness, too, because it's like what they could have been. They could have been best friends. They could have, you know, roamed the universe together. You know, they could have been ultimate teammates and buddies, but ultimately they, you know, the Master changed and the Doctor, you know, they grew apart, and you know, it's they come back together, and it's like, hey, remember every time they come back together, it's always like, hey, remember the good times. But you know, it's like,
now please stop trying to annihilate the human race.
Maybe I could if you would just stop.
There is something actually. There's kind of a point. That's a good point, because look at the conversations between Tennant and John Sim, and when he was saying, oh, you don't have to own the universe, you just have to see it. Come with me in the TARDIS. Come see the universe. And then Sim's response when the Master's dying in the Doctor's arms, and he says, be cooped up in that box with you. I'd rather die. Ha! You know, I win. Yeah. And that's that was that moment where he says, I win to the Doctor right before he dies. And that was back in season 3. Because he refuses to follow through with the Doctor, what the Doctor would want. And then in this, when she's about to die, when he's about to kill her, she says, say something nice, and he goes, you win.
That was really... I thought back to that moment when he said that, for sure. But it was all too good to last, because we get to the end, and you know, Clara's got the little thing. She's like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill the Mistress. You know, if you let her live, then everything that happened today, it's all your fault and all this stuff. And the doctor says, no, I'll do it. To save her soul. And we get yet another instance where the Master dies at the end. And I'm sure she'll be back.
Well, I'm positive she will.
Yes.
I have a theory.
Shoot, Matt. Gather around, kids. It's time for Matt.
Gather round now, children. I want to tell you a theory. Once upon a time, there was a man named Doctor. So here's my theory. Two things. First off, I don't think she's dead. I think what we saw was an illusion. She makes this big grand thing where she steps up on this spot between two headstones and holds herself in this position as if this is the perfect spot for her to die. So first thing that comes to mind is it was a transmat, or even better, it projects a hologram of herself over herself. Okay. Secondly, what's the device they were going to kill her with? It was her own device thing that she had been playing with and messing with right before the doctor knocked it out of her hand. She could easily have set that to have teleported her. Instead of murdering whoever it shoots, it would teleport whoever it shot. So it's possible that she was even setting up a plan on top of a plan if she couldn't make it to that spot where a hologram might pop up and she would suddenly transport to her TARDIS, that if she got shot by this thing, it looked like she would die, but really she got teleported. I would refer everyone to Time Heist, where things could look like it disintegrates you, but it's really a teleporter. And then last but not least, what kills her? First off, it's a Cyberman, and it's the most important Cyberman in the history of Cybermen. But the Cyberman technology it used, she implanted in it. Which means that the blaster on that Cyberman easily could have been something that makes it look like she died, but she didn't really die. The
Right.
Master is a master of these sort of sleight of hands. She's not dead. She survived. That's my theory.
She's a mistress of all trades.
Mistress of all trades. Master of the illusion. She's in time to lord over all as...
That was the kind of a stretch. But hey.
She can't help but regenerate her interest in the magic of illusion.
Oh, it's the puns. The puns have arrived.
She's not stupid. She's no TARDIS. She is... I don't know. I've run out.
All right. So yeah, this shot by a Cyberman, and we come to find out that this Cyberman was
Bob?
Da-da-da. No,
Muto.
The Brigadier.
Oh, the Brigadier!
Yes.
Da-da-da.
I thought I've read a lot of stuff online. A lot of people are really mad at that. They thought it was really cheap and really kind of distasteful, and I totally disagree. Like I thought it was lovely. I thought it was really great, and one of the things I loved about it the most is I feel like it's finally a proper send off to the Brigadier. I feel like when they did it in season 6, and Matt Smith calls on the phone, and they're like, "Oh, he passed away, and he always waited for you." It's like, well, that was sweet, but this was like a final goodbye, and it was really, really great. And he got that salute he always wanted, and just things like that. And his final act was saving his daughter, and getting rid of the
saving
Master
the Earth
for a few more, for another season or so, or something. You know what I mean? Like it was great. In my opinion.
I agree, and I think it was really, really, really special. And every now and then Doctor Who gives us that moment that we really need. That sort of closure to something. Sarah Jane coming back, and at the very end she says, "Just say it this time," and he says, "Goodbye, my Sarah Jane." We get that sort of closure that he's going to leave her again, but this time it's okay. Or the Brig dies, and you're just like, man, I really wish, I really wish. And then you get this, and it's like, yes, this was the farewell send-off for the Brig that he deserved. And even though he's dead, he's back, and he's saving the Earth one last time alongside Unit and his daughter and the Doctor, and all things good, and tea and crumpets and high tea time.
And I'm assuming after this he goes up into the air and blows himself up and gets rid of some more clouds. That's what I'm assuming. Otherwise,
no, he goes and he has a sitcom with the Dalek that the Doctor made good. A Dalek, the good Dalek, and the Brig, CyberBrig. Oh my God, the good Dalek and the CyberBrig. That's it. That is the sitcom.
This may arise on our monthly podcasts.
I don't know. If we can tune in and find it somewhere, I'm sure they're getting a deal right now for a TV show. Excellent. Excellent.
Love it. And so I was glad that Kate didn't die also, that was a big relief for me. I was like, oh god, and I was like, oh, okay.
The last thing about the season that is important to talk about, we leave the Doctor and Clara on this very, very dark note. Clara is given one last chance to talk to Danny, and he sends her the boy that he had killed, so that way she can take him home. Sends him through, I'm assuming, space, time, in the afterlife. I have no idea where he ends up.
Well, he was back in the hard drive. He was back in the hard drive, and he said this place is shutting down or something.
Oh, okay.
And she says, well, the doctor said it would be shutting down, but that bracelet would let one person come through or something, and
so
he
he
decides to send
sends
this
the kid
kid instead, which I thought was
sent Osgood.
I thought that was great because it was sort of he got his redemption almost.
Yes.
Not only being the Cyberman who led them all to end the reign of terror, yuck yuck, but also, but also, he got his
Couldn't
redemption.
see that pun coming. My sight was cloudy.
His redemption for what happened to him in the military. So I thought that was a great moment, even though it was sad for Clara, but good for Danny.
Yes, it was. But what happens is it gives us these two characters who I think they both knew. I think they both knew that this was the end and that neither one of them was happy and that their lives were irrevocably changed, because right away we get the two big lies, the two greatest lies of the entire season. The first is, and they're to each other, and it's clear they're lying to each other, and it's clear they know they're lying to each other. I think it is, at least. He tells her, I found Gallifrey. There is no way he found Gallifrey. If he had found Gallifrey, he wouldn't be there. He would have taken her to Gallifrey, no matter what. She would have seen that. Yeah, he is lying to her, and she knows it, and she plays along, because her great lie is that her and Danny are going to be just fine. And we know that's not true. And I like that the number one thing, what is rule one that we have learned from the very beginning with Moffat? The Doctor lies. Who are these two characters? They're both the Doctor. You have the Doctor and you have Clara, who's become the Doctor. These two characters who have become masters at lying, and they lie to each other. Because it's the only way for them to leave each other's lives and not feel the pain of that.
Well, and to know that the other person is okay, is happy and okay. They don't want to leave knowing that the other person is not going to be happy with their situation, and she wants the Doctor to be able to go and say, no, look, I'm fine because I'll have Danny, and then he wants her to make sure she's happy with Danny, and he's like, no, I found Gallifrey, so it's all good, and and that was really sweet. And the hug the hug killed me.
The
hug killed me.
Oh. So they left on a lie.
So yeah. But here's the thing. I don't think this is the end of Clara. I really don't.
No.
I think she'll be back in the Christmas
she returns.
Special, and
she's listed as being in this, and they told us. They said her great send off, her farewell, is in the Christmas special.
Yes, that's what's rumored.
Hopefully,
and I would be okay with that too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
Taylor, it's time for our favorite lines segment, where we talk about our favorite lines of the episode.
Alrighty. Well, you want to go first?
I would love to.
Okay.
Sir, one of my absolute favorite lines from this entire episode comes from just about the middle of the episode when, what's-her-face, Missy, is captured and tied up, and she gives me my absolute favorite, oh my giddy aunt.
Yes.
Such a Troughton fan.
A little Troughton action. I love it. I really loved Seb's line and the Doctor's
His final
falling,
line.
which is great because there was like this spy music. I thought that was funny too. When he was like falling, it was like ding 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 ding. But anyway, Seb's line was hilarious. Everybody goes, "Permission to squee." She daps him. That was great too.
I really loved. It's another missing line, but it's her and the Doctor. She says, "There's always collateral damage with you and me. It's our Paris." I just love that they're just acknowledging this is a romance. This is a bromance. This is a Time Lord mance.
Yes. I thought, what? I don't know. This wasn't my favorite part, but it was worth mentioned. Where we've all said this whole thing, like, oh, this is some kind of evil Mary Poppins. And what does she do? She floats down with her umbrella. I thought, oh, they didn't. They didn't just do that, did they? They did. They did it.
I really loved, and I loved the first part of this quote. I know you loved the whole quote. But I loved where Kate Stewart says, "We're the only one planet in the universe which can say this. He's on the payroll." And she points over to the Doctor.
Yes. And I love the rest of it, where he's like, "Am I?" And he goes, "Well, technically. Is how much?" And she's like, "Shush."
It's true, because he never leaves their payroll. He's always their scientific advisor.
You gotta wonder how much back pay they owe him.
Right?
Yeah.
I really loved when he realizes Osgood could be a companion. Walking past her, he goes, "All of time and space." And she looks over and says, "What?" And he says, "Just something for your bucket list." And that all of time and space, which is what Matt Smith said to Amy Pond, Amelia. And that's such a best friend relationship in that. And then this could have been like a father-daughter best friend relationship. We never got it.
Yeah, that was such a great line. And now thinking back, it's a super sad line.
It's super sad. It's last thing he ever says to her.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite lines from Missy was, she goes, "Come on, crack a smile. I want to see if your eyebrows pop off." Just any eyebrow joke about Capaldi is the best. I love it. I'm playing that Doctor Who Legacy game, and his his main attack is called Attack Eyebrows. The best. It's so
they
great.
are pretty impressive. They are attack eyebrows. They
Yes.
really are. I think my favorite line from the entire episode was when you got Danny Pink as a CyberPink, and you got Clara standing there, and she's just about to turn on his inhibitor. And she says, "I wasn't very good at it, but I did love you." He says, "I loved you too." And she responds, "I'll never say that again." And he says, "Neither will I." My God, you want to talk about breaking my heart? Two people acknowledging what they had and that they're never going to find it again. That pulls my heartstrings every time.
Yeah, that was rough. On the other side of the coin, my favorite part was my favorite line. I guess this is my favorite serious line. Was "Don't trust a hug. It's just a way to hide your face." We finally get this reason why this Doctor doesn't like to hug. And it's almost one of those. It reminded me a little of that moment of like when in Name of the Doctor, Matt Smith says to River, I didn't want to say goodbye because I thought it would hurt too much, and she's like, no, it wouldn't, and he goes, "No, not you. I meant me." God, it really reminded me of that, because this is the man who he's been hiding his emotions this whole time, and he says this, it's just a way to hide your face, and then cut to his face, and God, I broke down. His face just killed me when I saw it. I mean, you could tell that for all the gruff and roughness of this Doctor, and all the the grumpy old man the face that he puts on, this was him leaving her behind was just hurt him. It just did, and it hurt me too. So
well, and isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting that this whole season has been about the face? It's been about the face he puts on, how he acts around others. That he is gruff, and he is rough around the edges, and he makes fun of others, and he pushes people away. And he does all of this because he doesn't want their approval. But that's just one of the faces he wears. He acts like what he says here, never trust a hug, It's just a way to hide your face. We'll never trust his face. But you never trust his act. Never trust the way he is. Because it's just a way for him to hide how much pain he's in of having to make these choices. This season really is about consequences, and I think that line perfectly describes what the consequences are and what to the Doctor consequences are.
Yes, for me it was a beautiful moment, and it was my favorite moment of the episode.
But you realize, of course, that all of these moments, these pale in comparison to the greatest moment of Doctor Who ever.
Yes.
Oh, Missy, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Missy. Yes.
That was good. That was very good.
And then she just laughs at herself because nobody's paying attention.
Can we talk about Michelle Gomez's performance for a second? She was just amazing. I really haven't gotten around to some of the old classic masters yet. I haven't really seen a lot of them. I've seen a couple of clips here and there. I've seen the one from the movie. I've seen John Sim, obviously, but I think she's going to be my favorite. She is so good at playing this part, and it doesn't even bother me that she's a woman and she's playing, a role that was previously a man. It doesn't bother me at all. She's perfect.
She's a Time Lord.
Yeah,
that happens.
She's just perfect.
She was perfect for the part. Michelle Gomez was absolutely the best casting ever, and 100%, hands down, she is the highlight, the gem of the villainy in Doctor Who.
Yeah, she really was the highlight of this season, and I almost wish they hadn't shown her so many times throughout the season, because I almost got annoyed with her for a little bit. I was like, right. Oh, Missy, all right. Well, who are you? Whatever. And then, Darkwater and Death in Heaven, it was just like, oh, you're the master and you're brilliant. Thank you for that performance. It was so good.
Taylor, let's leave this episode on a good note. What was your favorite moment?
It was the hug. Favorite moment was the hug. This season has been very emotional and very serious, very different from what we've come to expect from the Tennant and Smith years. But I really enjoyed this kind of television also, and it was very well done. And moments like these that just break my heart and just make me so invested in these characters. That hug and their little goodbye was probably my favorite moment of the episode.
That was a beautiful moment. You're absolutely right. For me, and very similarly, also with a hug, for me is the moment with Clara and Danny, right before she turns on the inhibitor. That quote, that just, I'll never say that ever again. This is it for Clara. And he says, neither will I. And you just he just Han Solo'd the crap out of that moment. She was Leia saying, I love you, and he was Han saying, oh, I know. I know it, baby.
I know, baby. Shut up, baby. I know it.
Shut up, baby. I know it. I'm Han Solo. That's exactly what that moment is. It is the most heartbreaking. Watching Amy and Rory fall off of the Winter Key was beautiful, and I almost died inside at how wonderful and beautiful and gorgeous that moment was. Their love was so strong and powerful that if one had to leave, they both had to leave, no matter what the outcome, because they had faith in each other. And this is sort of the antithesis to that, without being evil or mean-spirited. This was the heartbreak of two people who love each other, who just understand it will never happen. This is it. They have to leave each other, and that was it. That was, for me, that is the defining moment of Doctor Who right there. If anyone ever asks, what is Doctor Who in one scene, one moment, right there.
Great. All right. So, final thoughts on this episode, and the rating. What do you think, Matt?
Great final episode to a season. Great cap on a wonderful ride. So glad it got better. So glad it made sense, and not as perfect as the one before it, but pretty damn close.
So what do you give it?
I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm gonna give it 9 out of 10. I mentioned it at the beginning. It wasn't as good as part 1, but which I gave 10 out of 10. So I'll give this one a 9 out of 10 also. Just a really great ending to the season, and yeah, I loved it.
Calculating. Voices from the Vortex gives Death in Heaven 9 out of 10.
So now we have an oh my god moment, but not for that promo.
No.
Wait, there's more. Oh my god, that mid-credits clip!
Oh my god, in the middle of the credits.
Knock, knock, knock. Who's at the door? Why, it's Santa Claus!
It's St. Nicholas.
Hi, Santa! We've been good boys and girls stopping the master.
I loved it. I loved that little moment.
Nick Frost!
I was so just like I was so emotionally drained from the goodbye and everything, and then all of a sudden it was like, hey, well, hold on, you can't leave it like that. That's rubbish. She's not okay, and you're not too. And who walks in but Santa Claus? And the doctor's face. Oh my god, I bust out laughing, and it just
I clapped. I was laughing so hard.
anything I had, any sort of emotional trauma I just been through had been washed away because Santa was there.
Santa Claus. That ending was perfect. First off, that it went to credits first.
Yes.
That it left you with that moment, and it gave the list of names of everyone in the episode. But then before going on to the non-actors, cuts back to that, and then right after that little clip, it goes to, and it was Nick Frost as Santa Claus. You just go, yes! It's John Hurt as the Doctor!
Yeah.
Woo! And Santa Claus! And it was very David Tennant with the Titanic. It was very, what?
I almost expected him to say what.
I did too!
And it would have been great.
Oh my god, that mid-credits clip.
Yes, oh my god, that was so good. So this will lead into...
Oh my god, that
promo!
Talk about a cool looking promo.
Oh yeah, sometimes the promo I really don't know what the episode's about. Like it gives me that. All I know is there's Santa and something that looked like a lizard people. Maybe they're all slimy mouth, some kind of slimy mouth.
Evil reindeer. They say something in the promo about it being at the North Pole. Right. So this is all happening at Santa's workshop, which it's just like, what have they not done yet for a Christmas special? And Santa Claus.
Well, here's the thing. Are we thinking that this is going to be really Santa? It's going to turn out that Santa is real, just like Robin Hood? Or that this is some kind of other thing, and he's not really Santa? What do you think?
I think it's Santa. I think this dude makes toys for children and delivers them all across the world.
Maybe Santa is a Time Lord. Go with me on this. His sack is bigger on the inside.
He clearly can travel through time because he can deliver to that many children across the earth in only like 6 hours.
Yes, Moffat. If it's not too late, change it.
Make him a Time Lord.
Santa's a Time Lord.
It's the return of Omega. What?
Oh my god.
Nick Frost is Santa, otherwise known as Omega.
Omega, you guys.
Omega, that promo.
Omega, that promo. We should change it. Also, we know Clara is going to be in this episode. Jenna Coleman, posted a long time ago, like, oh, hey, rap on the Christmas episode, and she's credited as she's going to be in it. And it was rumored that this will be her final episode. I was thinking that someone said, that when that rumor came out, then Capaldi was like, oh, I'm not sure if she's going to make it till Christmas. It past the end of the season. And we were all like, huh? So I was expecting maybe something to happen to her at the end of this episode. And now they kind of said goodbye, and I was like, well, that was it was touching, but that can't be it. That can't be the goodbye. I don't want a Martha ending with Clara. I don't want her to just be like, I don't want to travel anymore. And
here's the thing. This is coming from me as a fan. I want I want the paparazzi and the internet to just stop giving us fucking spoilers. Pardon my language on that one. But guys, knock it off. Like, I don't want to know that Amy and Rory are leaving in episode 5. That's what they did. They told us right then, before the season started, by the way, they're leaving in this episode, and it's like, great, I'm so glad you got the scoop before anyone else. I didn't want to know that. I didn't want to know that we weren't going to get Amy and Rory through the entire season. Because while I do enjoy learning about some of the different stuff that's going to happen, I would rather be surprised. Clara's going to leave in this in the Christmas episode? Fantastic. But that doesn't give me the suspense of, hey, I thought she already left, and hey, she's back, or, oh my god, she's deciding to leave now, you know. I feel like, as a fan, I'm getting it ruined by people who are just trying to get the scoop first. And that bothers me a little bit.
Yeah, so. No, I definitely agree with that one. Yeah, because some of these, you know, moments and just even characters leaving, you know, if it was earlier in the earlier seasons, you kind of came to expect it. It was like every season, the end of the season, the character left. You know, you had Rose leave, and then you had Martha, and then you were like, oh, well, I bet Donna's going to leave at the end of season 4. And she did. Right. And then you had Amy. And then Moffat kind of broke that. He was like, Amy's going to stick around for a while. And then she'll stick around for one more season. And then, oh, guess what? She's still here. And for 5 more episodes. And so, yeah. So I agree with you on that one. But, I don't know. I think I would be okay with her saying goodbye in the next episode. If this was her last episode and this is how they said goodbye, I would be kind of disappointed. Just a little bit.
I would be too. But it would always leave it open for her to return. And that's the important part.
That is. You know, it was really good. I feel like it was a really good way for Martha to leave, but for Clara, I feel like there needs to be something else.
Yeah.
You know, we've had the I'm trapped in another universe. We've had the decided to leave. We've had the forgotten, you know, had our memories wiped. And we've had the
sent back in time and can never see her best friend again.
Yeah, so I mean, which was kind of a death, but I don't count that as a death.
No.
I'm almost thinking, you know, it's been a while since we've had like an actual death of a companion, and I don't know.
I'm kind of hoping that it is the real Santa Claus, and the finale is going to be, he asks her, what's the one thing you want most in the world? And he opens up his sack, and Danny Pink comes walking out of the sack. It's like, hello! And the two get to, like, live happily ever after.
That's true, maybe.
Like, he just comes out, like, completely naked, but with a bow.
A big bow, like, around his
and he's like, no, he's wearing the bow, like, around, like, on his shoulder or something, and he's holding a giant, like, to from sticker card in front of him. So, like, to Clara from
it's a Christmas
Santa.
Miracle. So yeah, I don't know. Santa seemed to be really annoyed with the way they left. You know, I was assuming he was talking about them when he came barging into the TARDIS. I loved. All right, that's it. I'm coming in. And he just came in. So maybe Santa's going to try to get them back together, and who knows?
Oh,
that'd be sweet.
Oh, Santa!
Santa, he's a big softy. That Santa.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to our review of Death in Heaven. Thanks for sticking around and listening to our entire review of Season 8. We really appreciate you coming by. Every season we like to do, every series we like to do this, and make sure that you hear episode by episode our thoughts, our theories, fun, exciting moments, and fun, exciting quotes. Make sure to check out all of our monthly podcasts, broadcastgallifrey.com, also on voicesfromthevortex.tumblr.com, and
on iTunes, we're on YouTube.
We're on YouTube and Facebook and Google Plus, and I mean, literally, you can't throw a stone on the internet without hitting us. So check us out.
Yeah,
listen to
check us
stuff.
out. We're gonna have, we don't know when the next series is gonna be. So, until then, we have our monthly podcast. Please check those out, and yeah, we'll see you all next series.
And here's the Santa bringing us a wonderful box set of Season 9 long before it's made. Happy holidays,
He's
everyone.
a Time Lord, it's
Hi.
possible.
Hey guys, have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, wonderful evening, wonderful day, wonderful night, wonderful whatever it is where you're at, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bananas.
B-A-N-A-N-A-S. Voices from the Vortex is written, edited by, and starring Matthew Whitecamp and Taylor Davidson.
With Danielle Davidson as the sexy voice of the TARDIS.
Theme music composed by Brian Wurst.
Visit our website, www.broadcastgallifrey.com.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel for an enhanced podcast experience.
Follow us on Twitter, @Vortex Podcast.
Like us on Facebook.
Follow us on Tumblr and Google+.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, and if you like what you heard, leave a review.
Ask us a fan question through any of these media, and we'll answer it on the podcast.
Thanks for listening, and stay tuned to the Vortex.